Kabogo.
Yes, sir.
Warati munene.
Good to know. Thanks, man.
Good to see you.
Hey, nice to come here.
Good to see you,
I
bro.
know you want us to promote this, and I love it.
This is your project. This is your baby, so why you didn't promote it?
And by kujijenga.
I really appreciate what you did for us.
Kujijenga. Kama tungekuwa mahali ingine tungesema niko hustle.
Niko hustle.
Ni kujijenga.
Sasa siku hizi uweze tumia neno hustle ovyo.
Tujijenge.
Nashukuru sana.
Maana ya hiyo neno hustle ni kujijenga.
Unajua nilikuwa naambia watu juzi.
Kujijenga ni kitu ya maana. Because kama hukujijenga wewe wangoja kuinuliwa, basi na lako haliko.
Itakuwa vigumu kabisa.
Itakuwa ni ngumu. Lakini kama wa Kenya tujijenge, tupatane tukiwa pamoja. Na nchi itakuwa ni nchi bora, nchi rahisi, na mambo yote itakuwa bambam. Kwa hivyo tusiwe na wasiwasi kama wa Kenya. Tuachane tu na siasa mingi. Haisaidii.
Siasa ni mingi.
Mimi sijawahi kutana na mtu barabarani akaniambia amepeleka unga nyumbani kila siku kila mwaka kwa sababu ya siasa. Unaona juzi nimepiga picha kwa Twitter. Nikaona Bwana Rao amesimama hapa, ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa William Ruto amesimama hapa. Wanazungumza, William is smiling as usual. Sasa nikauliza kwa Twitter, nyinyi mliopigana juu ya hawa, kweli akili zenu ziko sawa?
Na Wakenya
hata maskuli ukienda sahi, watoto ama wajukuu wa Mheshimiwa Raila wanasoma na watoto ama wajukuu wa Mheshimiwa William Ruto. Even my children are in the same school. Lakini sisi ambao tuko hapa level ya chini ndio tunatumika. Tunatumika vibaya.
Kwa nini
wale walikuwa wanafanya hizo vitu Kisii? Wangegoja yule aseme yake amalize. You understand? Yule mwingine aje aseme yake na amalize. And for now I want to make a clarion call kwa Wakenya mahali popote waliko. Tafadhali tuheshimu maiti, tuheshimu walioaga. Let us pay our last respect. Wakati tumeenda kwa mazishi, si usema tumeenda to pay our last respect. Do you think those guys paid the last respect kwa huyo mzee wa miaka 100?
No, they don't.
It's very unfortunate.
What is
na wale wanafanya hivyo, when you see Raila boxing William or William boxing Raila, then you can start boxing. Lakini kama wameketi next to each other na wanazungumza, nyinyi mafala mwenda fanya nini?
Lakini for once at least wanasiasa wameanza kukulana makonde pia. Wananchi walikuwa spectators.
It is not
for the longest.
But I'm saying it is not necessary. Sasa baadaye ndio namsikia Arati, Mheshimiwa Arati na Mheshimiwa mwenzake wanasema we apologize. Why do you do such a silly thing to apologize? Unajua kama ni mtu alikuja na wenda wazimu, regardless of what side they fall, na ameruka kwa stage, anachukua microphone na anataka kusema wazimu yake, that one we can deal with. Lakini hii, because you belong to different sides, allow the other person to be heard. Nizungumze yangu na niko na dakika 3 peke yake, hatutalala pale. Even in any democracy we say the majority have their way, but the minority have their say.
Yeah. So we all deserve a chance. We all deserve a chance.
We all deserve a chance.
Yeah. But what is the obsession with Kenyan politicians and funerals?
It is because that is where you get free attendance without having to spend money to mobilize. God has already mobilized you by killing someone. You understand? And this business should stop, honestly. Mimi hutawahi nisikia nikizungumza maneno kando na msiba in any funeral. And you know I don't have a forum now. Yeah. My forum is where I am now or elsewhere, but not in public areas because I don't call barazas. You understand?
Yeah.
So what is a big deal? You have to wait for a funeral. So it means literally that hawa watu uliza ni nani amekufa hivi karibuni. Kama sasa mimi ningependa kwenda kwa mazishi ya mzee Nyachai because he is a guy I respected. He worked with my father in the civil service. Lakini nafikiria nikienda huko nitapiga 9 hours listening to this bullshit.
And you're not ready?
I'm not ready for this bullshit.
By the way, I saw Nyachai family have said they're going to have a private ceremony.
Better.
Funeral ceremony. And
Better.
I think families are beginning.
And I have told Charles, poleni sana ndugu, I would have wanted to come. Lakini by the trend of events in Kenya today, no need to attend a funeral. Why would a funeral take 12 hours? Unaonanga Ulaya, what do they do? Wanachukua sanduku, wanaenda pale kwa cemetery, inawekelewa hapo juu, pastor anasoma verse 2-3, mwingine wanapeana what do you call it, condolences, watu wawili wale walikuwa very close, alafu wanasema hallelujah,
wanaenda
wanawacha mwili inawekwa chini by those guys who work in those places.
Yeah, I had an experience with someone who lost a family member, and there was a state funeral, and they say that it's so traumatic because even the state does not allow the family to honor the person who has left them.
So why are you giving somebody
the business?
Let me ask you, what is the purpose of a state funeral? Simulate askari wakae huu tu hapo wachunge familia na mupige 3 ama 21 salute gun, muachane na maneno, mtu familia enjoy the last respect of their loved one. You know these things. Angalia ya mheshimiwa Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, mwenda zake marehemu, roho yake ilale mahali pema peponi. Uliona, took the whole day. I'm not saying we should bury him in a hurry, but we can do it respectively, allow the family to play their memorial videos, whatever it is they have. We cry with them, we bury him there, and we leave. But you must speak politics. Well, which other place in the world? Why can't we just be simple, na tuache kuwa mannerless?
And now that you mentioned that, you've started from that angle, we've already seen the drums of war being beaten across the political scene.
Yes.
You're seeing even the president the other day in Sagana saying that mukitupa hata sisi tunatupa. You saw the other day when Raila Odinga was having MCAs in Karen, the MCAs were saying, Baba, the Kondela is the only non-gazetted barracks in this country. All the politicians beginning to spew some kind of hatred in Wananchi. We're seeing the uprising also from Wananchi. They're getting so emotional because, I mean, it's the seed that you're playing. And you are in 2021. You're not even in 2022 yet. How does that make you feel?
You know, I said, if you look at my Facebook latest video.
Your video actually shared it.
I said, the trend is so serious, so bad, that 2022 elections 2007, 2008 will be a joke. Because if they can start doing what we saw on stage in KC, 1.5 years or 1 year, 8 months to the elections, what do you expect will happen during the elections?
So be too bad.
And the people to lead the war against violence, the war against people not being able to air their views because you don't agree with them, it should start with Raila Odinga, with people who are not tainted with violence. Because if it's happening in their flocks, it means they are allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
And I did not expect Raila Odinga to leave that podium without addressing that problem. You understand?
Yeah.
They should have condemned it strongly, so that in the next funeral, it will not happen. But they just sat there and watched.
So does it mean these guys are, being the biggest beneficiaries of violence?
Of course. Well, what is the big deal? Is to go into office. Are you telling me they're fighting so hard to go and fight for you?
I doubt.
No. They're fighting so hard to get into office. It's our time to eat. You understand? Do you remember when, who was it? Prime Minister, one of them said, they're eating. The gluttony is so bad, they're puking on our shoes.
Wow.
The idea to go to office these days, here in this country, is only 1% probably who are fighting to get Kenya to the next level.
The rest are
the rest ni matumbo zetu tu. Mtu ameingia bila kitu. In 5 years, you own 3-4 buildings in Nairobi. What is the miracle of business that you have learned, this business acumen that you have acquired in 5 years, that you could not have done, in your last 70 years of survival? Because if you are 60 years old, it means you went to school for 20 years. For 40 years, you have not learned any business, but when you enter into office, you have already acquired skills of a professional businessman.
You've held a political office.
I have from 2002.
Yes, from 2002.
Yes,
and the biggest being the government of Kiambu.
Correct.
Which I think you did pretty well.
Yes,
and you already have two people who came after you. The people who have come after you. There's Waititu who was kicked out, and then we have
and if things work normally,
and all of these guys.
If things work normally, there will be a third one before the elections. But since it is the president's county, we tolerate a bit. Yes.
So that's what the thing is, Kabago. Waititu came.
Yes.
And, they had said,
Ferdinand Clifford, Bernard Waititu.
Ferdinand Cliff Waititu, the man with 4 names, alisema he swam to Punjab. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Recently, he was in a race in Nairobi. Yes. You remember people were
Nairobi
calling
County,
me people were calling me to go and become governor in Nairobi. And I said to my friends, I have not even declared I want to be a governor in Nairobi. You understand?
Yeah.
Why are you dragging my name into a competition that I am not in?
I was actually surprised.
Thank you for thinking that I could lead Nairobi, because I could.
So
I could, but why go to Nairobi 1 year?
When you
1
still
year
have
to elections, General Badi is there. Of course, it will be very difficult for me to work with him, because I will be working from a different paradigm. You understand?
Yeah.
From a constitutional point of view, the governor is the governor. You understand what I'm saying? But it happened in Nairobi because of situations that were unavoidable. But why? I didn't want to go to Nairobi. And again, if I had gone to Nairobi and then Babayo has come to Nairobi, then we would look like the dual from Punjab. What would have been the difference? Who would have told the difference between him?
So you had these officers. Waititu came in. He was kicked out because of corruption. They said he was corrupt. Nyoro has come in, the firstborn of BBI, and already the guy is under fire from the county assembly and also of the Mwananchi. It said that he's corrupt. Now you held this office before, and you've told us about the magic that happens in public offices. One man comes in, never had any business, has nothing to his name. A few years down the line, is the billionaire in town. How do you describe public offices in Kenya? Is it really a place for Mwananchi, or is it an avenue for the few or the leaders to feed themselves?
I will speak generally from my own feeling. This is my own perspective. Yeah. It may not be applicable to everyone, but in as far as leaders are concerned, most of us, public office is a looting place. You go in and loot as much as you can. Unfortunately, I do not belong to that class. Kazi yangu sio kuiba. Niko na kazi na biashara zangu mimi hufanya tangu zamani. Nikija public office nilikuwa naja kujaribu kuunda Kenya yetu ambaye sisi tutajivunia siku za usoni, tukisema tumeinua hali ya maisha ya Wakenya. You understand? What is sadder or more sad than an electrical engineer graduate sweeping the streets of Nairobi under the, what is that program called? Kazim Taani. You know, that kills my entire mind. That where are we headed? We told these children to go to school. A poor lady in Elgeyo Marakwet sold her piece of land, a widow, for the children to go to school. Attain a first-class degree in engineering, and then he has no job. He has to go and fagia mtaani. Isn't it that very sad?
Sad sort of affairs.
Doesn't that, isn't that a concern to our leaders? Can we be happy that we've spent 100 billion in the last few months to give engineers sweeping jobs?
Wow.
Wasn't it easier to start a fund like what they are proposing now in BBI, to start a fund that will give the young generation of this country self-employment?
Or pay their loans.
Because we don't have white-collar jobs. We don't have blue-collar jobs. But you're telling them there is hope if you sweep the street. Of course, it's a way of getting money to people. People are dying. I truly appreciate that they could give them that money during COVID crisis. But post-COVID crisis, we should not be thinking about graduate sweeping. We should be thinking, how can we start a revolving loan fund? I started a revolving loan fund in Kiambu because I had seen this problem. I had started a revolving loan fund which had about 300 million by the time I left. If that money continued to evolve, to go around, and Bitok, let me tell you, out of the money we had lent during those 2 years when I started that program, the repayment rate was 98%. Wow. Why? Because you've lent money to somebody who had no hope they would ever get credit. Because he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a bicycle, he doesn't have security, he has nothing.
No
to
land,
his
no
name.
nothing.
Yeah. But the county was there for them. Create a group, work together, use peer pressure, lend 100,000. I'm telling you, you will not believe how many motorbikes we bought for this young man. Some of them have now moved from motorbike to tuk-tuk, from tuk-tuk to that small bread looking like taxi.
Yeah, Suzuki.
Yes, huyo jamii yake si forever they'll appreciate that. At least they got a chance. Imagine if this started in every one of our 47 counties.
And I think that's what actually devolution was supposed to mean.
And that's why I'm saying, please, guys, why don't you just sit together? You, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, you, Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, you, Mheshimiwa William Ruto, and those are the leaders, you know, the NASA Brigade. Sit and negotiate this BBI thing. It doesn't have to go to a referendum. It doesn't. I have read the Constitution, kabisa. What you tell me, what amongst the things that are proposed that requires a referendum?
Maybe the things for the bosses, the expanded executive, maybe.
They don't require a referendum. And if they do, why don't we then deal with everything else at Bunge and take to the referendum that one or two things that require a referendum? If it is HELB, who doesn't want HELB loans to be cleared? You understand? If it is money for business for the youth, who doesn't want?
Yeah.
You understand?
And actually, let's talk about help.
You know what I'm
Doesn't
saying?
it take a minister of education to just wake up one afternoon after lunch and declare that all the help loans are being paid by government? We declare farmers' loans.
And
every
if
day,
he
rich
can't
enough.
do that single-handedly, take it to cabinet. You know, that is where the that's the Apex Forum where decisions of the nation are made. Make a cabinet paper, take it to cabinet, let the president forward it to Bunge, let it be ratified. It is as simple as that.
All right.
The other issue of 35%, that's a great issue because not all governors are corrupt. And we should be able to kuweka mikakati ya kuzuia ufisadi at the county level. But we cannot stop 35% being taken to the counties simply because we think that governors will be corrupt. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I'm getting you, sir.
And I'm telling them, you people, go to Bunge right now. That is where budgets of government are passed. Let the Minister for Finance, what's his name? Akur.
Ikuri Atani.
Yes. Take a proposal to Parliament for 35% of the current year's budget to be sent to counties. Nothing is illegal there. You understand that? The law says, the Constitution says, a minimum of 15%. Yani, what does that mean in Swahili?
It means you can even develop 100%.
You can give everything.
Yeah.
So why are they not doing it this year?
They didn't say a maximum of
Yes.
15%.
And you know, my support for BBI would simply be because of that 35%. And if it will be sent, and we put a clause there, and I know it's possible, and I know it's there, but it's not defined as such, that majority of that money will go and follow population. Because ni huduma kwa jamii. Sio huduma kwa wanyama, huduma kwa jamii. We do not serve acres. If we give 60% in accordance to population, it means Mombasa, as concentrated population the way it is, it will get more money. Are you aware that Mheshimiwa Joho, in the first 3 or 4 years, was never able to pay salaries? Are you aware that Nyeri was never able to pay salaries because of the numbers of people? So when the money follows people, it means, able to seme kwa mfano, Nairobi inahitaji mahospitali ngapi, so that everybody in Nairobi who requires health services will get services. You know, Nairobi was flowing into Kiambu during my time to come for medication. Up to a point I told Kidero, we are going to ask you to pay.
I remember that.
Because you're using our services. Machako's the same, used to send everybody to Thika. You understand? So more money should go for hospital to those places where there are more people. Common sense. You understand? Lakini utapata, Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga and Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, they had the majority recently when the motion of division of revenue was taken to Senate. But they couldn't pass it for 6 sittings. Why? Because there are people who do not believe in sending resources, more resources to where there are more people? You understand? Agricultural services. Would you take it to where there is more agricultural activity or where there is none? And people continue saying we were marginalized, so hey, give us more. Does it mean if you're marginalized, you continue marginalizing others?
The rest, yeah.
You understand? Why can't we have equitable share of resources? Equitable. Not equal, equitable. You understand?
Yeah.
If you have children from probably two different mothers, how would you distribute your money to these families? Isn't it a little more money where there's more kids?
Yeah.
Isn't it a little money where there are less demands for education? For example, one woman is older than the other. Na watoto wake wamemaliza skuli, si ndio?
Yeah.
Where will you send more money for
Unasema
school?
moja tupunguze yenu, tupe mama mwingine mwenye
Correct,
watoto
kwa
bado
sababu
wadogo.
watoto wako skuli. It is the same principle.
That's what you wish would be
You
applied
understand?
in the
Yes.
national
Yes,
sharing
yes.
of resources. Wacha tuingie Nairobi kidogo. Tayari ulikuwa umegusia Nairobi. The things that have been going on in Nairobi. Sonkore was elected by the people.
Yes.
In terms of, I think he garnered even votes more than the president in Nairobi.
Yes.
He was elected by the majority vote. He was sent, akatumiwa badi, amevuruga kidogo. Sasa amesukumwa nje. The question is, Mheshimiwa, I know you've been there. You've also clashed with government.
Unajua, the way you framed your question is alitumiwa badi, alisukumwa nje.
No,
we need
that
to
is the
look
conversation.
at the circumstances that made them find badi.
And that's where we are going.
I may not agree
And that's where we are
with
going.
the process of how it was done. Because Section 187 of our Katiba says that functions of one government may be
Transferred to
given
another government.
to the other side, to the other arm of government, which is national or county, negotiated. You understand? If, for example, I thought that health services in Kiambu was overwhelming and our budget would not have supported, I would have negotiated probably with the national government to surrender that service, that function to them, and surrender the resources they've given us with that function, and they would top up with their own resources. But having said that, Nairobi was a little bit complex because my friend Mike Mbuvi Sonko, and I say my friend because I never deny my friends. I never deny.
You're not Peter.
No, he was my friend. He is my friend, and I pity what he's going through. But Nairobi was a little bit tricky because Mike Mbuvi Sonko didn't have a deputy governor. You understand? Yeah. Mike Mbuvi Sonko had been impeached, or he had not been impeached. He had cases in court that there was an existing order that he should not be anywhere near an office. So really, that made it impossible for Nairobi people.
He was already dysfunctional.
Yes, for Nairobi people to get services. So when I saw the functions being transferred to NMS, or through to national government through NMS, in my mind, it triggered Section 187, where functions of a county, where a county is unable to do their functions, they can surrender those functions to the other government, right? So I thought that was what happened. But now of late he's saying Abana nilipewa pombe. I don't want, that's an allegation of course, because there's no proof. Yeah. But really, why can't we avoid some of these things? Why can't we avoid them? Do we have really to go, the whole world is looking at Nairobi as an example of what shenanigans African governments can do. It's not giving us any good picture out there. No. And it is deteriorating as time goes.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
Now, my question is, sir, and, how long does it take a government to know that a person is not fit for office? Because Sonko was in Jubilee, he was an MP, he was a senator.
It is not a matter of government. There are rules and regulations. If you want to become an MP, these are the requirements. If you want to be a governor, these are the requirements. It is not government that put Waititu or put Kavoro or put Mike Mbuvi Sonko in office. It is the people. So what we should be telling the people of Kenya, choose wisely. And they say that your leaders are a reflection of yourselves. You understand? So if you look at Kabogo and his work and you elected me, I am a mirror of what you people who elected me are. If you look at Waititu and those who elected him, you are a mirror.
It reflects his people.
Waititu represents is a reflection of you. So if people are clever and they know that, don't elect people who look stupid. Generally, you will see they look and they appear and they seem to be. You understand? You have no doubt. You know? You know. Ukitafuta anyway, wacha niwachie hiyo story hapo.
Ulikuwa unaelekea kuchoma.
Niwachie hapo. Unajua zingine.
So wewe unaona sasa Sonkore Kenya anapitia ni haki ama ni siasa pia?
Unajua mchanganyiko wa maneno. I want to say, let us first find a language that is acceptable to refer to each other. Because you remember Michuki said at one point, if you rattle the snake,
expect it to bite back.
It is definitely going to you cannot play with a cobra. You understand? So my friend probably
rattled the
for
snake.
one reason or the other, he rattled the snake. Because the language he used and the examples he said, it truly, even if he's my friend, it is very unfair for him to say the things he said. I'm saying, if you think that it is those things that are taking him to prison. But again, even if it is not those things, or it is those things, has he got all these cases they're talking about? And you know, he himself is a confessed jail expert. You know, he has said it himself. You know, he has said, nimeona yote, nimeenda prison, nimeenda wapi, nimepigana, nimefanya nini. Sometimes voice has power.
Your tongue has power.
Yes. What you pray for is probably what you get. I'm saying it's unfortunate that my friend is going through what he's going through. I hope this all comes to, an end soon. And probably he gets back to his normal life. But he should also learn with some of these things.
All right. Let's talk about the economy, the state of the economy. The country is borrowing 1.3 trillion to top up on its budget. It cannot finance the budget. What's going on? You are a businessman. You do business.
You know,
if
I'm a businessman, yes. And I'm sometimes in a fix of making some decisions that pertain to business. Because when you borrow knowing that you will be able to pay. But if you borrow and you're not sure of how you will pay, then it becomes a problem. There are countries that have borrowed 3 times their GDP, but they have the capacity to pay. My question is, do we have the capacity to pay what we are borrowing? At the moment, I don't think we have the capacity. Why do I say so? Why do I say so?
Why do you
because
say so?
Taxes are dropping. Kenya Revenue Authority cannot raise their targets. They're missing their targets with 40%. Why are they missing targets? Because very many people have run out of business. Some because of COVID issues, others because of restrictions, others because KRA went and gave agency notices to their banks, and the banks surrendered all the money that were in those business accounts to KRA. So what has that happened? What has that done in effect? What it has done, it has wiped a potential taxpayer to a non-taxpayer. And I say this without fear of contradiction. The taxman's job is to facilitate business for you to pay more and more taxes as you grow. But the current leadership in Kenya Revenue Authority, it seems to think they can use kifua. They can take money from you because they have the power. But they don't realize that but they are finishing potential taxpayers. If I took the seat of government today, I would reduce the tax burden on Kenyans. I would enlarge the bracket so that more people pay taxes. A good example, import tax is 35% on most things, right? with a VAT value-added tax of 16%. Yeah? That works out to about 52%. So if you're bringing in a container of Lessos, for example, which cost approximately 6 million shillings out there, yeah, you will pay duties of 3.2 million. Who will afford to buy a Lesso if the total cost of that Lesso is more than 200 shillings?
Nobody.
So what the importers will try and do is to avoid tax. By how? Bribe a customs officer with 500,000 and you pay duty of 500,000. So in total you've paid 1 million.
1 million.
Right? But if the taxes were 10%, government would collect instantly 600,000. You would never want to bribe anybody because you're only paying 600,000. Na kwa mfano mtu ya customs akikamata mtu hajalipa ushuru ya kutosha, the law envisages a situation where you have underpaid taxes and they call for you to pay. But if you take those goods to auction because this guy has run away with 200,000 shillings, you have finished him. He will not be a taxpayer next. Why don't you allow him to collect his goods if he cannot afford to pay the entire taxes? Give him 30% of the goods. The officer has power to release goods without taxes. Let him go sell that 1/3 and bring the taxes of that 1/3 and another 1/3. And he'll come and collect the last 1/3 and pay the taxes. Then tell him, next year, we want to see your importation papers. We are tracking you. Meaning, you have confirmed that he's a taxpayer and you have encouraged him to continue doing importation. How many people in Nyamakema today, the people of the mountain that I come from, they've closed business? For the first time in 30 years, you can get a shop in Nyamakema without paying goodwill. You can get a shop that is free of rent for the first 6 months. Why? Because landlords don't have business. And then we have Chinese in Nyamakema, in the streets of Nairobi, hawking. We have Chinese who have now known, they will be known if they occupy the ground floor of a building. They are occupying 6th and 7th floor and they are doing their trade from there. And I said one time ago, take these short people back to any of these, what do you call them, EPZs. Let them operate from there. Let Kenyans go and buy from them there as wholesalers. Now they come, they're wholesalers, they're retailers, and they're manufacturers, and they are contractors. And when they come to contract, they come with their jailed life-sentenced Chinese. Those people you see in orange uniform. So every money that is given to them is given in China because they have cheap money. So they bring their money here only with their equipment and little to pay their salaries. Everything else they want to collect in China. Is that not capital fund flow out of Nairobi, out of Kenya? Yeah. So what rocket science do you need to understand this?
Why
and all these things, you cannot blame the president alone. It is a group of people. They are advisors. There is the cabinet. What paper has anybody written about this and taken it to cabinet? You understand? When people steal, you want to say it is the government. It's an officer. Deal with him as an individual. Isn't it? But we want to say, no, this government has failed because of... Yes, they have failed because of those who are working for them. You understand?
Yeah.
Why is corruption such a big deal? Why is corruption such a big deal in Kenya? Because it's our normal. That's the way to do things.
You've normalized it.
Yes, we've normalized it. It's okay. Still, you'll become governor. We celebrate thieves. Wow. You understand? How long does it take to investigate money has moved from government, an account of KEMSA, to Bitok? How many days do you need to investigate that?
Even
that's a hearing.
5 minutes.
That is a hearing of one afternoon.
Yeah.
Is this your account, Bitok? Yes. Can you read entry number 6?
Where did you get this money and why?
It is written there. Transfer from treasury voucher number this or something, some reference, 140 million. So Bwana Bitok, tell us what this 140 million was for. Where is the documentation? Where mtu ya treasury kuja hapa? Why did you pay this money? No, I was ordered by this. What other evidence do you need?
And that's actually the question, sir. Because when you look at other issues, corruption cases, we've been people who have been pushed out of office over corruption cases. Why is it that there are some corruption cases which are handled very toughly, and there are some which are handled with gloves? KEMSA, for instance, it's a very straightforward case. Money was lost. We know how much money was lost. The government has actually had to struggle with debt stock at KEMSA, which they have had to push out to ensure that they try and recover their money at a loss. I mean,
why
is it that we are not working on these
Let's
things?
just talk about those. Some of these things, they probably are hearsay because we hear them. But we have had people giving evidence in Parliament before a committee and saying, I was passing by.
Yeah.
And I asked what's happening here. And he was told, come in.
Kuja kidogo.
Nenda ulete ya 140 million. You understand?
Yeah.
Another one inquired on phone. And he's telling Parliament. So what is the DCI doing? That guy should be picked at the door of Parliament immediately after giving evidence and to be told by DCI, please, ndugu, yale umesema pale, ebu fafanua zaidi. Ulizungumza na nani? Ulizungumza na simu? Safaricom, patia sisi records ya hii mtu. Wa confirm sa hiyo alimpigia simu. So that is evidence. What else do you want?
Hata kuna mwingine alisema nilienda nikabeba pesa na gunia 2 billion in a sack.
You understand?
Sometimes back, yes.
So it is the failure of institutions that cause these problems. You understand? When you say it is the president's niece who did this, why are they not questioned?
That's my question too. Why do you think they're not questioned?
I'm saying, why it is the prerogative of the DCI. You understand? What's wrong with calling the president's niece and saying, tell us how you got this tender, if you did? Have we had the president say they should not be asked? Mm-hmm. And criminality has no time limit. Mm-hmm. Those questions will be asked.
Someday.
So ask now. You understand?
Maybe
but you're talking about an order of 84 million versus how many? 4.7 billion. So where is the rest if you're talking about the nieces and the friends of the president? Where is everybody else? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But we want to trivialize issues because you've had this presidency. Was Uhuru Kenyatta a supplier? Mm-hmm. Tell me, was Uhuru Kenyatta mentioned as a supplier?
He wasn't mentioned.
So what is this business you're talking about? Every other Kenyan has an identity. Do you know those people in prison, they have relatives? Maybe you have a relative in prison. Yes, does it mean you should be in prison?
No. But the
should
question
we
is,
be saying Bitok's thief brother?
Members, we've had people there are people who have gone to jail. The guys from NYS, one that lady who was a director at NYS, she went to prison. She was taken in. There are guys who have lost jobs. Look at the PSS who have been fired. Look at the CSS. Let's talk about Kimware and Aror. CS Rotich, as we speak, is at home. Yes. The president promised that he's not going to spare anybody in the fight against corruption. Yes. There is a general feeling in the country that there are people who are handled more carefully than the rest when it comes to fight against corruption. I know you might want to say.
You know the best person.
I understand your argument.
The best person who we can ask this question is the DCI, number one, and also the president. You said you will leave no stone unturned. There are few stones that are lying with cobwebs here. Yeah. Why haven't they been turned? You understand? But some of these institutions are letdowns. Because when an institution goes to speak in public about something that public knows it is obviously not true, what are you telling the members of the public? That you are a kangaroo institution. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Let everybody play their part.
Na kila mtu abebe mzigo yake.
Kila mtu abebe mzigo yake.
What do you think when it comes to the economy, even as we wind up that the discussion of the economy, what do you think, because you mentioned about the handling of taxation, expanding, as we speak right now, we need
to freeze. We need to freeze things that are making Kenyans poorer. We need to freeze borrowing. You understand? We need to lower taxes. We need to encourage small business, even finance, so that people can start generating revenue, becoming a little richer, and paying a little more taxes. You must plan for tax growth without increasing taxes. You understand what I'm saying? Is it possible truly? And I sometimes understand that government has to prove to their financiers that they have the capacity to pay. And how do you prove? By increasing taxes and saying, last year we collected so much. We have added this little tax of 3% tax, turnover tax. So from here, we should be getting extra revenue to be able to pay you. You understand? But we should also be able to negotiate with these countries and say, this is a very bad time, COVID, etc., etc. We're heading to an election. We have this turmoil, and you are our partners. Can you freeze? Can you give us some, some holiday? Some repayment holiday, and so that we can recover and continue paying what it is that we owe you. Or just go crazy and say, we'll not pay you. We'll not pay you.
Tupeleke mahali unajua.
We
Tupeleke
can't
mahali
pay.
unajua.
Yes, unajua hata hapa ikifika kiwango benki huwezi lipa. Wanachotanga vitu yako wanapeleka kwa auctioneer. Saa hii inaenda kwa auctioneer. I told financing institutions like banks, those who have loans, who have lent money to Kenyans and they are not able to pay. I said, look at my Twitter handle. I said, renegotiate your loans with your loanees. You understand what I'm saying? So that if they were paying 500,000 a month, they cannot have the capacity to pay 500 now. They're only able to pay 200. Renegotiate, increase the duration of the loan, so that you don't kill this businessman and you do not lose your money. Right now, the auctioneers are saying, our grounds are full, please negotiate. So I had seen 5 years ago.
You saw this coming?
I saw it coming. So those banks who heeded my advice and started renegotiating, they are struggling, helping each other with their clients. There are times that a bank has to pump a little more money into a bad loan for it to become a good loan. This is not rocket science. No.
It's common sense.
Common sense.
All right. There are some people requesting that maybe you can remove your mask so they can see you well. I don't know how safe you feel.
It's not that I don't feel safe. It's only that I'm a little bit clever. Yes. I know that if I get sick, I will suffer. But for the sake of them, I will remove it for a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. At least we also fumigate every weekend, so it's safe enough.
Weekend is not enough. We should fumigate after every show.
After every show, we do fumigation. All right, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Now, if you mentioned about, I'll ask you a question, if you are president, what did you do now? But before you get there, Kibaki was there.
Yes.
And during Kibaki's time, you could find banks giving money on the streets, stalls everywhere, KCB, Equity, come we give you money. What do you think Kibaki got right that Uhuru did not get it? Because let's look at Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta. Kibaki inherited an economy that was on its knees, from 24 years rule of Daniel Moi. We can argue that. It was an economy that was struggling even to finance itself. But Kibaki in 10 years was able to revive the economy, and finally people could feel, Kenyans could feel.
I probably think one answer,
what do you think
one quick answer, one sentence that will answer that is probably that this administration has bitten more than it can chew. And that's it. But also, if you look at the kilometers of roads that the Kibaki regime did, the service, what the Kenyatta regime has done, these guys have done more.
They've done more.
They've done more. If you look at corruption during Kibaki's time, these guys have done more. I don't know whether you've heard me. Corruption was a little bit less during Kibaki's time.
More kilometers and more corruption.
Yes, there's more corruption. So it's a multiplicity of factors that has caused these problems. But it is never too late to, if you do not look back and try and understand what happened, you'll never be able to correct a problem that you do not understand. And what am I saying? If you go to a doctor, you don't go and tell a doctor, I can't be now, And if you give me penicillin, I'll be fine. You understand? Go and tell the doctor the problem that you have, the symptoms, and the things that you have done, Bitok, in the last few months for you to feel the way you feel, so the doctor can give you proper diagnostics of what you are suffering from. You understand? But be that as it may, we have a great country. We have a country that has potential. You understand? But we have people who see opportunities and run. When we needed more maize, we had the story of Galana. A huge and great project. What happened to it? What happened to Galana?
For the longest time,
Money
that
was
has
pumped
been,
in there. What
that has
happened
been
to
an
Galana?
all. Yeah.
Yes. It is because people run there and first secure their own personal interests and put their interests before the interest of the country. How would the president know when he's sitting there and he has already signed out a project? It is those that he has entrusted in following up of these projects. You understand? But the blame goes to who? The administration. Kama sasa naona kitu ya ajabu. Ya ajabu, ajabu kabisa. Watu wanasema no, hii regime, hapana, Uhuru amefail. You understand? Uhuru amefail. Who has failed? If there is failure, it is failure of the Jubilee administration.
Nasikia siku hizi inaitwa Jubinasa, iko mpaka na wale watu wa opposition.
Hapana, you know, NASA, Tinka is just a clever man. He knows when and how to enter where he wants to go. You cannot assume Tinka. He's a serious politopreneur. You know, he's a serious politopreneur. He knows what to do and when and how to do it. But at the end of it all, if they have failed, you'll never be able to separate the ministers of Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta with Uhuru Kenyatta himself. Neither will you be able to separate Mheshimiwa William Ruto from Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Yesterday I was on radio and I said, you guys, I was there when you sat together to form Jubilee. I was there. Let no one lie to you. I was there. And I drove to William Ruto in Uhuru Kenyatta's car. We were only about 6 or 7. I am a friend of Raila Odinga. The only thing we don't share is political ideology. I am a friend of Uhuru Kenyatta, the president. I am willing to call these guys and we sit and discuss our country. Put all our self-interest out. Can we discuss Kenya? Can we discuss peace? Do we really want to take another set of Kenyans to the ICC? And I'm glad, when we came back from ICC, because I was there, people said we need to get out of this thing. This thing is not good for African nations. I'm telling you, it is the one that keeps us safe. Yes.
The ICC?
Yes.
Others will
it
be
is
done.
A deterrent to possible very bad things. Because that's where we think. We think you must get to the seat. And why I tell Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta and Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga that BBI has failed to address a few issues. One very serious issue, although it is being passed to be dealt with later through legislation, is the issue of elections. Because we fight because of elections. If there will be a fight next year, and I hope it won't happen, it will be because of elections. You saw Trump trying very hard not to leave the White House. But their election laws, the election laws are such that if you do not agree with the results, you request instant review. You understand? Recount of your ballots. Instant. So that the elections generally have finished, but you are not satisfied. You call for a recount. Of course, they say you pay for it. Even here, why don't we have such a law? What happens here with the current laws? You go for elections, you get a mad presiding officer or PO, and he announces you are the winner. He announces in public. He's guarded by some youth, and he announces. You know what? That is done. Your recourse is only in a court of law through a petition that will last a minimum of 6 years. And the term is 5.
Wow. Yani,
that is why people resort to very serious actions, knowing that the only thing he has to do is to be announced. Suppose we had laws like the US, Bitok, that says recount. You understand? When I went to court with Judge Thuo, if this issue was available that day, would have opened our boxes, would have recounted. I would have said this is not a good vote because it doesn't have a signature. We found votes, 34,000 of them, that had no signatures. We would have found them the following day. You understand? So the elections would have been nullified that same day because of recount. Make it more public, let the public be able to see and tell whether it was transparent or not.
To give
But you have hidden the boxes. Some have gone and chomered the go-downs where the boxes are because they don't want the truth to be known in the in the boxes. They've been talking about the French servers. Would have made it possible for servers to be opened the next day.
And these guys stop talking about servers being opened. What happened?
But I'm saying, if we are forming, if we want to make Kenya cohesive and peaceful, let us open up and improve our electioneering
transparency.
laws. Yes.
I'll take you back to a business because of something that has been raised here by someone who is watching. And they're saying to start a small eatery in Kenya, you need the following licenses, taxes, and levies. 1, county business permit at shillings 25,000. 2, L certificate shillings 3,000. 3, TRA license 16,000. 4, tourism fund levy 2% of the volume sales. 5, music cooperative society Kenyan shillings 10,000. KRA 16%. Is in these killing small businesses. Honestly, there's need to remove some of these taxes. No wonder many small startups business are closing down. Kabogo, please.
I agree with that entirely. Entirely. What that is telling us is that government or whoever is responsible has said, you little niggas, come and do business and bring 90% to us. That is the story. We have talked in the past about having a one-stop tax regime, right? All your taxes are paid through one bill. And that's what we try to do in Kiambu, to harmonize taxes and say, for any business, this is all you need to pay. That's it. Once you pay this, that's it. But you'll find every other department, catering levy, I don't know who, health, even they charge for drainage, they charge for sewage, even where there is no sewage. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is a question of, policy. This does not require the Katiba.
Has a country ever taxed itself to success? Is there any country in the world that has prospered from taxing its citizens?
Never.
Why do we imagine that we
countries that have succeeded on their own, for example, in Lagos finances itself not through increased taxes, but through general improvement of their tax regime. You understand? So that every other person who is supposed to pay taxes pays taxes, and taxes are affordable. You understand? But here, you want to take 40% of what I have made. You understand? Yet we have people here who are supposed to pay taxes, they don't. For example, if I was to stop one quick thing now here, I will stop foreigners from buying land here and subdividing that land and making money and live in the country. We should be able to make it so difficult for them to do capital flight. You understand? Yeah. But we don't look at such things. We only look at how can we get more money from more Kenyans. We should say, like they did recently, I love it, that the tax bracket below 25,000 or 30,000, you are out of the tax bracket. That gives tax holiday to people who cannot afford. We should be able to give relief of education fund. If you're paying education, this is a deductible expense to taxes. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We should be able to let the private sector be able to improve Kenyan infrastructure by giving them tax deductions. For example, if for lack of a better example, if Bitco company, wanted to fix a very big pothole outside the Garissa Road, they will not do it because it will be a loss to them. Yeah. But if we allow them to fix that road and whatever money they spend becomes deductible at the income tax level, then that guy will be happy to do any contribution in the area where they're operating from. And that, in a sense, what does it mean? It means that you have allowed taxes to be spent at source. Is that really rocket science?
It's not.
It's not rocket science.
And even push the businesses more to even trade more, because when you trade more and you give more CSR, then it means the less you pay for taxes.
Exactly. If you want young men and women in Thika to access credit, allow the private industry to be able to assess those that they can assist with small loans, give them loans, and allow that money to be given to these traders as exemption to tax. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Recently, the government was talking about affordable housing. I'll tell you this. There is nowhere in the world the government can be a developer of homes for its citizens. Allow the private industry, the private sector. I am a developer myself, Bitok. You understand? You get what I'm saying? Allow the private sector, make it easy for the private sector. Tell the banks, for example, here in Kenya, we are the ones who license you to trade by buying and selling money. One condition in your license is that 5% of your portfolio, you understand, will go to housing. 5% of your portfolio, and you shall give it at mortgage rates of 5%. If you do that, the other 5%, government will contribute to you in form of tax rebate. Is that not a win-win situation?
Yes.
A Kenyan gets a home at 5%, the bank gets 5% from the mortgage, and government contributes 5%. So government is contributing to those who are paying.
Yeah, wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is that rocket science?
It's not.
Why can't we do it here in this country?
And my argument was, Mheshimiwa Kabogo, do Kenyans need houses or they need money to buy houses? Because the government can take even
Kenyans
say,
need the capacity to be able to buy themselves homes.
yes.
But you kill that capacity when KRA gives an agency notice that business B has failed to pay taxes. They owe us 6 million. So the bank don't give business B their money. Give it to us. That is the only money that business has. It doesn't mean that that's everything it has. It could have assets. But you know, cash is king in business. You can run out of business, a multi-billionaire like me, and run out of business because you don't have 500,000 shillings. Yeah. And you start now looking for ways of selling whatever it is that you have quickly to get back into the cash regime. It's not rocket science.
I came to
Ni kama ile biashara ya mkokoteni ama ile biashara ya kiosk. If you have no cash, tomorrow you cannot buy Marikiti products. Utafunga. Even if you have a house worth 7 million, utafunga hiyo biashara. So government should be able to facilitate and make laws to facilitate growth of Kenyans.
To further production, that is.
Mupate pesa.
Production. Tupate kakitu.
Mfuko ikuwa na kitu. Ipanuke kidogo, kisha aweze kulipa ushuru.
Kwa sababu mtu ambaye akona pesa, we talk about an empowered citizen who has money, they can buy their own houses, they can pay taxes, they can take their children to school. I mean, why is the government acting like the big brother that wants to take everything and tell us, now, but guys, wait for me to feed you?
Sometimes we make mistakes. Yeah. We talk about government. Who is government? In real sense, government is us.
The people.
Yes. Article 1. Article?
The preamble of the Constitution.
Article 1 of the Constitution, it says, sovereign authority
belongs to the
people.
We the people.
And is articulated by the people themselves directly or through the leaders that they have elected.
I think through ndio tulichomea.
Hapo ndio kwanza we know it is them. So right now we should voice very quickly, remove this person. This person is not doing what it is, and we are the people.
Then it comes again.
And if you don't understand this, I want to refer you to Raila swearing in. If the law really works, Raila should have been picked that day. Would have been picked that day. Because he was not the legitimately declared winner. Mark my words.
But he was
not. But he went and swore himself in.
And that's what I was telling you.
But choices have consequences.
Consequences.
If we would have picked him, we would have lived with consequences.
Yeah.
But our friend Uhuru Kenyatta is peace-loving. He didn't want to go that road. He may have if he wanted. He had all the powers. But he chose not to.
Right. I came
But
to
I want to discourage any Kenyan of thinking of going that road.
going to swear themselves. If I go and swear,
Yes.
will the president still treat me well?
Use the laws of the land to articulate and share your problems and deal with them. Let us strengthen our laws. Let me tell you, a country that does not have respect for the rule of law, is a jungle country. Let me tell you what is the rule of law. In the 70s and the 80s, a policeman in a white cap and a small bakora would stop cars, many of them, by show of hand. Park there, 12, 13 cars. And he would go from the first one to the last one dealing with them. If you have a problem, give you a ticket and tell you to go. You understand? That is what you call the rule of law. That man doesn't have a gun. Yeah? There are only 2 officers, but you stop. These days, I've seen a matatu is stopped at Globe Cinema roundabout. And the makangas of 2 matatus, they attack the policeman and bring him to his knees and put a knee on his neck. My friend, that is a recipe for chaos. If you drive a car, and I know you do, avoid a motorbike. If you see a motorbike, please stop. Because if you hit a motorbike, you are likely to lose your life in this country. And this is happening in full glare of the law. Why can't we put our foot down and say, you cannot do that? This country has laws. And you know, Mheshimiwa Orengo, for some reason, he speaks volumes about the rule of law. You understand? You don't agree with the court order. Please go back to court and fight it there. You know this leader of majority, Mheshimiwa Kimunya, is one guy I truly don't like. The beginning of problems in the land division, it is him who said, that is just a paper. Title is a paper. And people believed him. People started acting that way. You understand? By the time 5 years were over, there was so much chaos of land titles. A whole minister saying that a title is a paper because he was in power. And he forgot the effects, the literal effect of what you have said. Law and order. If you do not have law and order, you are a chaotic nation, and anything would happen to a chaotic nation. We are defined by those rules. Law, order, and all those things are agreements between us and the state on how we will be governed.
All right.
But when we have an agreement of how you will govern us and people start breaking the law, how the hell do you want everybody else to react?
It will be a problem.
Even the government should follow the rule of law. Once a government has been given a court order by a court, good or bad, go and appeal. You understand? Yeah. Good or bad, go and appeal. So that there is some order. Can you imagine a parliament where there will be no order? How would they articulate their business? How would they do debate if there was no order? The debate there is done, and if you get unruly, the speaker says, order, order, and everything comes to order.
Order.
Yes.
Now, Mheshimiwa, all these other people are very impressed with what you're saying, and they're saying you're full of wisdom. The question, you've said the president is your friend.
Yes, yes. I don't deny my friend.
The president has been sitting here, he's now heading to his 10 years. He's remaining with almost 18 months.
He's heading to his 9th year. 9 something,
yes,
not
yes.
10.
Remaining with 18 months to finish his stuff.
Yes.
All these ideas that you have, and I've actually also come to your place, I've seen the kind of amazing work you're doing, the houses you're building. You have a direct relationship with the government in terms of the policies affect you.
Yes.
You know? The president is your friend.
Yes.
You've participated even in the forming of government, which means he has a lot of respect for you.
Yes.
All these ideas you have, do you ever get time to share with him? And what does he have to say?
I get. And if I feel he doesn't pick my phone, I'll send an SMS to him.
What does he say about these ideas?
He will read and say what he thinks, and sometimes he will not return my messages. You know that a president is a very busy person. I know because I was a governor. I could not attend to all the thousands of SMSs that came through. But something that is a matter of national importance, I expect that the president should be able to grasp it as quickly as possible.
So,
but again, a government is not a person. It's an institution. You understand?
Yeah.
We have 3 levels of government here. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature, and the executive. If every one of them did what it is that they're supposed to do, this country would be great. But we have one attacking the other. We have one denying the other money. We have the one doing this. You know all these shenanigans. If we want to get on the right track, let's allow institutions to do their jobs. Let the executive allow the other 2 arms of government to do what it is that they're supposed to do. And let us wipe out or try and minimize corruption in all 3 arms of government. Don't tell me there's no corruption in the judiciary. You will not belong to Kenya if you tell me that. Don't tell me there's no corruption in legislature here.
Ufisadi kwa kila mahali.
You know, we went and locked in the 10th parliament that legislators cannot legislate on anything that benefits them and enjoy that benefit. It will be enjoyed by the next parliament. But we have seen them increasing house allowances and things like that. Recently, there was a note that they should return money. This is what we should be following as Kenyans. Watu wadidaktiwe hiyo pesa walijipatia. Warudishe.
There's someone who has thrown in a spanner in the works. We're talking about the rule of law. Yes. And there's someone who is saying, how can we talk about the rule of law in a country that the president does not respect the constitution? He's saying he has disobeyed court orders. Let's talk about the court order to return Miguna. They also he's also mentioned Maraga.
You know, I said the talk, and I will not eat my words. Mm-hmm. I said that the rule of law is paramount for a good country. And I have said government, legislature, and others have failed to honor court orders. Mm. We want to honor orders only that are
good for us,
favorable for us. It's a recipe for chaos. Mm. Yes.
Right.
So why go to court if you know you get a court order and it will have no value?
And you know that there's no need. You know,
it's very painful. It's very painful when you know you are right and you've gotten your justice in court, but it cannot be released to you.
Mm-hmm. There's something on to...
We should be able to amend our constitution and say exactly that. A government shall
not may
obey court orders. Shall
not may.
And in the event it doesn't, that is a recipe for asking for a new election. Because if I'm president and I know if I don't follow court orders, I will have to, if it is proved beyond reasonable doubt, I would have to be thrown out of office for gross misconduct. Nobody will disobey court orders. Then again, we must make sure that they are not court orders given on the basis of political persuasion. Uchafu iko kila mahali Kenya hii. Saa ingine mimi nasikianga ndugu, nitoke tu niingie Botswana, ninunue nyumba na nikae. Mahali utafanya biashara ukijua if you're doing the right things, hakuna shida itakupata. You understand? Saa hii hapa kuna fununu, ukifanya hii utafanywa hivi. You understand?
Yeah.
But we have guidelines on how we should operate with each other, which is our laws. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But how often do we agree to follow the rule?
But the question, yesterday I was having a discussion with I'll just mention David Day, talk about the economy, and I was wondering about the apathy in Central. You come from Central Kenya.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people are calling you that this was the right kingpin for Central Kenya. Yeah, I'm seeing some serious comments.
What's a
here.
kingpin? You know that word is used very, very. The kingpin is. I'll tell you. You know, let's just deviate a little bit. Yeah. You know what a kingpin is? Mm-hmm. The kingpin. You know the hub of a truck.
Uh-huh.
The hub of a truck.
Yes.
There's what connects the fixed part of the wheel and the moving one.
And the moving one.
There is a pin there. It's called the kingpin because it holds it together. I don't know whether this kingpin is used in that reference. I would want to imagine so. But I don't mind being called the pin in the mountain. Uh-huh. It means people have faith in what it is that I do or say. Yeah. But to me, that is neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. What is important is you worry about your house. You understand? Your immediate nuclear family. After that, you worry about your enlarged family. The next thing you worry about is your district. The next thing you worry about is your province. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yes.
Charity, begins at home. But there's a small problem here in this country. When Kikuyus meet, it becomes an issue. I heard them saying, why is the president speaking in Kikuyu? So we teach him Luo and tell him when he goes to Luo Nyanza, speak Luo. You know, it is wrong for the president maybe to assume that he can only speak to his own people. But at some point, he has a house to go to. I have seen Raila Odinga speak a lot of the Luo when he is in Nyanza. Nobody makes noise. I have seen my buddy, William Ruto, speak Kalenjin, even in my presence. He tells me, let us switch a little bit to Latin. Because he needs to tell these people something in Latin. Yes, allow us to be who we are. But be a national president, because you're not the president of the Kikuyus. He's the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah, sure.
But when we meet as Kikuyu, don't panic. We know the problem. I know the problem. Why people panic when we speak. It's because we are many. And it is not for the love of the bed. It is just by nature. That is who we are. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. And when we intermarry the way we intermarry. Yesterday I was in studio and I heard this Jenga call some guy to give, you know the way they say, so-and-so has happened, so-and-so happened, and so has the report. He said something Olo. And it was a Kikuyu station. I was like, wait a minute. So when we finished, I asked him, who is this guy who just read? No, he says he's a Luo. He's a half Luo, half Kikuyu. And I said, great. A half Luo, half Kikuyu is broadcasting in Kikuyu. So I asked, does he also broadcast in Luo? They said they'll find out. I'll be very happy to hear that the guy does this. When is it that we will use our tribes just for cultural issues and not about Kenya, not about governing,
I think the
just as culture?
I think the biggest problem people had actually with the president was the comments he made.
Let me shock you. If you were to find the poorest people in the country in terms of percentage, where do you think you will get the percentage of poor people?
Poor people? I cannot tell.
I'll tell you in Kiambu.
Kiambu.
Yes.
Why Kiambu?
But out here in this radio station, you believe that Kiambu is the richest. I will tell you, Kiambu has rich people. And it has equally a very large portion of very poor people. The only place probably in the country that now has thatched houses, mud houses. Today. But when the whole world looks at Kikuyus, they think they are the richest. Why don't we create an opportunity for every Kenyan, regardless of his tribe, to have an opportunity to grow? You understand?
Yeah.
To have an opportunity to grow. This is what we need in this country. But when you brand as rich, you deny us resources because you think we are rich. You're misplaced. You are misplaced. Yes, I would like to go to Elgeyo Marakwet and find very many middle class Kenyans doing their own business. You understand? But there is what we call Kamwene. Kamwene means wanyumbani.
Mutietu.
Yes, mutietu. And let me tell you, my friend, yeah? Do you think if Uhuru is president, nobody sleeps hungry in central Kenya? Is that what you think?
No, it's a lie.
Do you think if William Ruto becomes president, every Kalenjin will eat a full meal?
You'll be having nyama every day.
You understand? It is not benefiting the tribe. You are elected to benefit the nation and feed your tribe and feed your family, not tribe. No, nobody is supposed to give handouts to Kenyans. Create an opportunity for them to make money for themselves. But we have this notion, Kalonzo becomes president, the Kambas are fine. Let me tell you, mutaendelea na njaa. Hivyo ilivyokuwa, kwa sababu nafasi hiyo sio ya mtu na kabila lake, ni nafasi yake kujitolea vilivyo to set policies and things to guide the country to a better level economically, socially and politically.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerard. How are you?
Salama sana. We can have your headphones, mheshimiwa, usikie simu. Yeah, Senator. Who am I speaking to?
Headphones on bado. You're speaking to Farid Chepkwony. Yeah, I'm listening to you people. You're giving us great things. I have some few questions for Mheshimiwa.
Very quickly, naona line ni mrefu.
So I was listening to this tackle, and we were concluding that Kenya can write the best reports. The problem is implementing them.
Okay.
Do you think BBI is an exemption from the other reports like the TGRC and any other report that was given out before? Number two, what is his point of view on the president's remarks when he was burying Davadi's mother about rotational presidency?
Okay. So you've talked about...
Number three, does... Yeah? The first one is the report. The second one is his point of view on rotational presidency. Number three, does he see any possibility of either Raila and Ruto working together? If not, what are the reasons hindering these two people from working together? Number four, how far has he reached with the last one? How far has he reached with his ambitions to work Cubono to fight corruption? Has he addressed the president about this or any other person who can let him do it for free?
All right. So ya kwanza ni report, ya pili mambo ya rotational presidency.
One about the report. I have said.
I'll take the comments for you.
I've said. You want?
I'll check them. I'll draw to you. Hello. Good morning. They are still here. Very quickly. Osabu ya line.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, I'm Samia Kachiwarui. Now,
yes.
My question is to former governor and the first governor of Kiambu, does he have any intention to vie as a governor in Kiambu, or what is his next political move?
Okay.
On advising the president, what does he think? What does the president have to do? Like now, he has 18 months left in office, and what is the best move he can do for the country to be stable and at least live a better country? Thank you.
Right. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Jared.
Sema.
Napenda discussion leo. Kabogo ameongea hapo kama mwanaume mwenye tunajua ni yeye. But the biggest issue nimekuwa naye hapo kwa hiyo the whole discussion niyo kusema ati ana shida ya uhuru kuongea in traditional language. But the thing is this, talking in your local dialect is not a problem. But inciting your community against your own deputy president, hapo ndi hatujakubaliana naye.
Okay. Huyo anafaa kujibiwa saa hiyo. Anafaa kujibiwa saa hiyo. Mimi sikusema ni sawa Mheshimiwa Rais incite community against DP. That was never discussed. We only discussed using allow me to respond. Allow me to respond.
Okay.
I was referring to speaking Kikuyu, not about against the deputy president. I am against any politician inciting his community against any individual or any community. I am against.
Yeah, but the issue is that what we get from them, talking about development is not a problem. Telling BBI is not an issue. But you may say that your deputy is doing this and that. Well, you know clearly that the deputy president has always supported the president.
Hao wenyewe wako na shida zao kama binadamu. Watokezee waseme, wewe tulifanya kazi na wewe, ni nini mbaya ilipatikana? Deputy aseme yake, president aseme yake, Wakenya waambie jameni, tuliwachagua mkiwa pamoja. Can you sort out your personal differences?
Yeah, because the biggest problem we have in Kenya is political deceit and betrayal. And the issue is that this one is a deputy.
You are
president.
talking to an experienced. You are talking to an experienced political betrayed. I have been betrayed very many times. Let me tell you, the pain of the shoe, it is where it presses. So I understand. Yeah. I don't envy the problems of President Kenyatta and William Ruto. It was in our original party, TNA and URP, and I feel the pain. But I'm only an individual like yourself.
Yeah, and I think as a country, we really need to talk about the issues about political betrayal. We saw what happened in Southern Sudan between Salva Kiir and Riek Machar. Two people who fought for the country to get independence, and at the end of the day,
I hope they are
betrayed each
listening.
other.
I hope they are listening to you.
This person went to the other side, assembled his group. The other one went to his side, assembled his group, and we saw what has happened to Southern Sudan. A young country that is very unstable. It's at the brink of breaking up totally. You see? And the issue, the biggest disappointment I have with the president is allowing the disintegration of the Jubilee Party.
Mm-hmm. I hope
And
Mr. Kenyatta is listening to you.
And Gerard, even you remember the other day I said the biggest problem we have is lack of strong political parties. Mm-hmm. You cannot advance democracy without strong political parties.
Let me ask you, brother, will you join my party?
Yeah, if you can give me a call. This is my number.
I will join. I will call you definitely tuunde party ya kujenga taifa.
Yeah, because if you don't have strong democracy, mtu mwenye ako Samburu hawezi simama president.
Kweli.
You see, somebody from Turkana, he cannot be a president. But if you have a strong party, and this individual from Turkana is strong enough to run for president, the party will support him.
Asante sana ndugu yangu. Kuwa na siku njema. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Zima background.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning. This is Nesbit.
This is who?
Nesbit Nyaliech.
Nesbit, haraka Masamba.
And I'm calling to ask the governor, is he vying for president coming 2022?
That is a possibility, my friend. It is a possibility. Lakini nisiseme sahi itafurahisha na ikasirisha wengine.
Kenyans of goodwill want you to vie. I'm one of them.
Noted.
Thank you, sir. Lakini hawa Kenya na wanakuanga na umechocha Kitui mpaka Kitui amewacha kazi. Hii Kenya ukiambiwa na presidency unaenda na
unajua shida bitoke. Mtu akiwacha kazi ndio akuwe president. Na huoni chances ya kukuwa president. You know some of these things. Wakenya saa ingine wanaamuka wakifikiria kuna miracle itafanyika. You cannot just be president. Unajua? Lazima uwe na dalili. Kama saa hii watu tunajua wana uwezo wa kuwa president saa hii. Saa hii. Kusema ukweli. Saa hii ni wawili. Saa huu.
Only two.
Unaweza sema hapa inawezekana. Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, Mheshimiwa William Ruto. Saa hii. Sasa wale unaanza kunipanga ati nisimame mpaka na mimi nianze kujijenga. Unasikia? Nianze kufika kiwango
wasijaribu kukuchocha.
To convince me na wengine kuwa inawezekana. And I'm telling you 1 year 8 months in politics is a very long time. Inawezekana ikifike April usikie kaboko tosha. Yes.
Kavoko.
And I will never let my countrymen and women down. And I'll die to serve this
I know that. I know. And you know, the reason why I can actually vote for you, you know, I like the way you protect your friendships. Me and you have been friends for a very long time.
Yes.
And you've always honored our friendship. Time. I mean, ujaini ruko ukasema hapana jamaa si rafiki yangu. You've always been there.
Nimekwambia Sonko ni rafiki yangu.
Sonko pia hata unyo umesema.
Kama kuna mtu anaweza kunifuata kwa sababu mimi ni rafiki yake, anifuate na mapema.
Good morning.
This is my friend.
Habari asubuhi. Haraka.
Habari yako Boti?
Salama boss.
Salama. Mimi nasalimia mkubwa kidogo. Munya from Thika.
Yes, Munya.
Sasa mimi nakumbuka bwana Kabogo Thika level 5 hospital.
Naam.
Na swali yangu ni moja tu. When mheshimiwa will start engaging with mwananchi? Yes, mikutano, you do forums like youth forums na watu wa Western forums na watu wa Northern Kenya. You know, we want to meet up with him.
Nataka kumuona.
Yeah, tunataka see mimi personally, lakini as youth he has a lot for this nation.
Lakini kuuliza ndugu, wewe ni mpiga kura huko Kiambu huko Thika, si ndio?
Kweli kabisa.
Ulipiga wapi kura 2017?
2017? Si tulimvotia yeye.
Okay. Sawa.
Lakini ikakosa kutosha
Ikakosa kutosha.
Ama ni algorithm ilifanya kazi. Unajua algorithm?
Bora nayo ikakuwa mingi.
unajua tulifocus kwanza na ile ya huko juu.
Ndugu pole, wacha tutajipanga.
Engage with mwananchi mkubwa. We shall appreciate.
Naam, nimesikia.
Kwa ofisi yako tunakuja kidogo.
We have a few questions that are pending there.
Yeah, tuko na maswali hapa zimekwama. Haya, asante sana ndugu yangu, kuwa na siku njema.
Okay, sawa.
Haya, tutafunga simu kwa dakika nyingine 15. Acha niruhusu nichukue moja tu. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Very quickly.
This is QS Mwangi, yeah?
Yes, QS Mwangi. Jambo, habari ya leo?
Mzuri sana.
Finally nashukuru kukuona.
I've been following you up, mine is to appreciate for the good work. And I could appreciate Mheshimiwa for stating it to the point, shukurani sana, nimeshukuru.
Naam, nashukuru pia.
Asante sana. Kuna watu pia wa diaspora, there are guys from diaspora,
yes,
ambao wanataka kuchangia. So acha niangalie itakuaje. The guys from diaspora want to have a conversation with you. Wanasema kwamba wakati watu wa diaspora walikuwa nakanyagwa sana, wewe ulikuwa now, they would want to contribute to the conversation. So I'll let you answer that. I'll allow you to pick up the questions, but when the call comes in, you'll allow me to disrupt you.
Correct.
To get the diaspora voice.
Yes.
All right. So they are going to call in shortly. So let's start with reports. In Kenya, we need one report to implement another report.
You know, we cannot generally call anything that is called a report comparative. You cannot compare every one of them. Ndungu report is about land use, misuse, allocations and all those things. I do agree with many Kenyans who think that this report should not be gathering dust in shelves and they should be implemented. And if you refer to just Ndungu report itself, it talks about public land that was grabbed, even forests. I do not understand why the last 20 years Ndungu report has not been implemented. Because forests are water towers. That's why when you saw people move from Mau Forest, all the lakes on that region, along that area, are filled to capacity today. You understand?
Yes.
But remember, it is government that allowed people to enter into forests. You remember the Moi, what did you call them? T-zones.
The T-zones, the Nyayo T-zones.
There were buffers for forests. And that was a great idea. Why were they not protected for some time until people entered into forests? Government should be able to remove people in a humane manner. You understand? And protect our forests because we need clean water. We need an environment. You understand? There are other reports like the Kriegler report. There were good things and bad things in that report because we can't have a Muzungu to come and tell us here how to do our own elections. But we have also got local information, knowledge, and experience about how we cannot do our elections. I just told you here right now, we compete to win that day because the alternative is to go to a petition and wait for 5 years.
Right.
If we can reduce the period of petition, as they have done and said it should be done in 6 months, it is said, but it is not implemented. You understand? We should make a law such that if the courts cannot resolve a petition on election in 6 months, it automatically becomes invalid. And they go for elections. So we have given the judge a mandate to tatua he or shida within 6 months. Yeah. You understand? We open up, like I said in America in November, so many recounts were done. Nevada, Philadelphia, Georgia. And they were done in the next 2 days. Recounts were done. They reflected generally the original results. Let me tell you, if you had done a recount of Kiambu in 2017, gubernatorial election, you would have been surprised in what you would have found in those boxes. So when do we make those laws? We don't need Kriegler. So the BBI report, as far as I'm concerned, what we should do is weigh it. Is it generally better, making Kenya better or worse? Na nasema, ukiambiwa uende sokoni uje na mandizi mbivu, uende upate yote yameoza, lakini umeambiwa ni lazima uje
na mbivu.
Utatafuta amongst the ones that are rotten, which one is less rotten?
Yeah.
You understand? And I'm saying this country has a lot of inequalities in terms of distribution of revenue. The only thing that will make me support BBI is if more revenue will go to where more Kenyans are, not more Kikuyus, more Kenyans.
More Kenyans.
You understand? There are counties in the Rift Valley that are seriously underfunded. There are counties in the coast that are seriously underfunded. So I'm telling my brothers and sisters in the Republic, disconnect BBI with elections. You understand? Let the country deal with BBI hapo kwa bunge. Itoeni mchambue kila chapter ambayo imeguzwa na BBI. If it is for the good of the country, vote it there in parliament overwhelmingly, unanimous. And the country moves forward. Then we have peace, government does its job, and the elections in 2022 will come. Let me tell you, Bitok. I'm not a prophet, and I'm not a witch. You understand? But I see. You understand?
Yes.
There will be a president. You understand? On Wednesday, the second Wednesday of August of 2022, there will be a new president. Fact or not fact?
The fact.
Unless the end of the world is before then.
Yeah.
You know that day that we're waiting for Jesus Christ will come back. There will be no president if Jesus comes.
But if he doesn't,
there will be a president.
Right. The diaspora line is in. Give me the calls. Hello, good morning. Or is it good evening where you are? Hello?
Yes, it's good evening here. It's on 6 p.m. time.
It's evening there, right? Hello, very quickly.
Yes, it is.
Your comments?
Absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah. Very quick for mine. Congratulations to Kabogo. And I think I wrote somewhere Kabogo ameiva, and he's actually come out swinging, and really, really kudos to him. I think the only criticism of him, of which a lot of people used the other time, is to be more female friendly.
my friend, I love women, boss. I love women. Please don't mess my mind. If you say that, you're going to make me feel terrible. I love women. But you're following the rumors.
I thought I'd make you guys laugh a bit. So let's go to the issues. I think you're right on when it comes to BBI.
Right.
We separate the two issues. And if we separate the two issues, we'll be able to actually dissect and see the problems that we are not seeing now if we mix them with the politics. The cost and any other thing that these Kenyans have talked about.
Your network is not very stable, my brother. Right. Sorry, naona uko na shida ya network. So we'll take just one call from diaspora, and then we'll take we just answer as we wind up. But I don't hold you so much.
There are people who asked you questions and you have not answered.
Yeah. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Bitok. This is Robert here from USA.
Yes, please. Yes, Robert. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Aya, mambo yako, bio, bro.
Good to have Mr. Kabogo in the studio today, and I'm so happy that there are so pertinent issues that he has talked about. The only problem, Mr. Kabogo, and I remember telling Mr. Bitok, is if he wants to go to heaven, he should not follow politicians. You politicians have really let us down. But the reason why I like Kabogo being on studio today is the fact that I remember, Kabogo, you were one of those people who really helped people from diaspora when COVID started. And a lot of people actually reached out to you to actually ask you for help. And you really responded very well, apart from other politicians. And you see, both of those things should have been done with the government. I will only talk about the economy and the lower cadre of people, especially called hustlers, and the way the government has actually tried as much as possible to alienate them from the economy, to the fact that now people have decided to craft a narrative of how they can be brought up as hustlers. There is no rocket science in economics. The logic of economy is supply and demand, and it doesn't change. So when you want me to sell maembe or you want me to sell ndizi, and you cannot give me a humble time to sell that ndizi, I will not avail my ndizi. The only thing the government needs to give out is that a well-leveled playing ground, so that when you're doing business, you don't pay VAT, you pay you pay. The things you pay, by the end of the day, they sum up your expense, and you'll not do any business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And when I'm looking at how the Kenya revenue can give out tax break, it is actually helping anybody who wants to start a business. Because if I go get a loan of 100,000 and I want to start a business, but my expense is going to be 80,000, how am I going to go do that business?
Right, to be difficult.
Yeah, so that's the few things I have for today, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my brother. Salimia watu wa diaspora. Ole, we hijacked your show today. All right, we will just stick to the questions that have been asked. There's also the comments. Someone asked, what do you think about the comments of the president on traditional presidency in Kakamega?
I say, and I continue saying, even if President Kenyatta is my friend or William Ruto is my friend, when they don't do something that I disagree with, I tell it to them with respect. And this is one thing that I don't agree with President Kenyatta. Although if you ask, he will say he did not say so. He said, "Hata yeye anaweza kusema." You understand? But if really he meant what he wanted to say and said it, because he did say, I don't agree with him. Why does he want to lock me out of the presidency?
Because you come from...
The requirement of being a president, there's nothing to do with your tribe. We are the ones who are bringing tribalism into issues of leadership. The requirements are a Kenyan citizen, right, of sound mind, yeah, with a certain level of education. You understand? Those are the requirements. There is no requirement, non-Kalenjin, non-Kikuyu. That is his, ni yake. And we don't have to follow everything else the president says, unless it is in law. You understand? So let President Kenyatta not lock me out. I am a Kikuyu born, and there is nothing I can do about it. I wish I could become all tribes and speak all languages.
Every time it's time to become something,
yes,
you can change.
I would
Today
change.
I'm a Kamba.
Yes, like a chameleon. If I go to Kamba, I can say Wasa. But Wailiata, I go to Elgeyo Marakwet and say, what do you say? Chamge, I say missing. Yes, not missing too much.
Today I'm Kalenjin. I'm to crop now.
And then I say Momingala. I go to another one, I say Nabatala, in Somalia, in the Somalia region. I would be happy to speak all languages, but it's not possible.
Sure.
But we have a common language called Swahili. When I am speaking to the nation, if I'm president, I'll speak in Swahili or English. And if I go to, why is it that these speakers, let me tell you one. Yesterday I was listening to my buddy, William Ruto, Doctor, His Excellency, in Kisii. How did he greet the people? My friend, he spoke like 7 sentences in Kisii. Great. We should all be able to do that and be happy and then move on. It is not tribes that will take Kenya to the next level. It is a unified nation. A nation whose fabric is not tribalism or favoritism. A nation which relies on merit only. A cohesive nation. Not to have selective justice. You understand? Justice for all. And justice is not only done, it must be seen to be done. You understand what I'm saying? So, in as far as the president saying that only 2 tribes have, man, what the hell? What do you mean? If you're a president, you're not a president of your tribe. Otherwise, then we will say anything a president made during his regime must be shared by the tribe. Then you become a tribal king. If I am ever going to be president, I swear to God, I will be a president for the Republic of Kenya. And that is the way it should be.
Amazing.
Na mimi naona dalili.
Hata mimi
dalili ya mvua ni mawingu.
Unakuja hivyo, naona unakuja sana.
Mimi naona dalili.
Nimeona hata si
lakini wasiniumiza wale wanaona kama nitakuwa competition. Mimi sina vitu
na wasianze kukufinya mapema, waanze kusema 1952.
Let me tell you.
Babu yako aliuma mzungu.
Let me tell you. I don't have to be president, but I would want to be in the council that makes the decisions that the president announces. And I would hate to imagine that the president's decrees are his personal decisions. It will be very wrong. It should be a decision that he has discussed with his advisors, political, economic, social, all these things put together. And if I was president, I would deal with my inner circle, and they tell me what it is they're telling me, those I listen to. And once they are gone, I would call the private sector for another meeting. You guys, this is a situation. What would you do?
All right.
Then I would put it to the analysts and give us the best option out of this.
Before you even implement.
And this is what I would announce. And I like the approach by Joe Biden. He has inherited crisis that you can see in his 12 days of admin. The guy is moving in the right direction because he's guided by facts, profession, and normal thinking. The other guy was a complete ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Sorry. In American language, that is okay. Not here. Yeah, so, excuse me.
We were in America for 2 minutes, so we'll be back. There's another question. I think there's a question to be answered, but I think I'll use it last. But now, there's someone who asks what you would advise the president. I don't want to ask it that way. I want to ask you, you are the president today. You have 18 months left.
Yes.
You have a country that is disintegrating more, even when you're saying you want to bring it together. You have an economy that's lying, that's going down. What would you do if Kabogo was the president? What would you do in 18 months?
I will put a halt first to anything that divides us. And say, guys,
what is that?
Where did we go wrong? Can we fix these problems in the next 30, 40 days?
I want you to name those things that you...
The clock is ticking. One thing, it looks like BBI is dividing us.
That's the first thing you'll stop?
I would deal with it immediately. Because it is a thing that is headed to take us probably to a referendum. A very divisive referendum. And after which, immediately we'll be going to an election. If I was president today, I would try and stop the move to have a referendum. But push the BBI issue to be dealt with at the legislature, where we have people representing us in accordance with Article 1. That is number one. Number two, I will declare firmly so that I must leave a non-divided Kenya. Do you understand? And if there are faults of anyone who is targeting office, we should not do it in political arenas. Let the rule of law and institutions, justly so, deal with the issues that are at hand. People now are being tried on Twitter. You understand? Yeah. I was seeing people telling Murkomen, you're very good on Twitter. Why are you not there representing Sonko? And, Murkomen is a straight-thinking lawyer and politician. But such a comment should trigger us. Who is now there representing Sonko? You've left it only to Dr. Hamino. You understand? I'm not saying that that's what Murkomen should do. I'm saying these comments people are making, people are telling you what they think. But why is it that we don't talk directly to the responsible people? You get? But saying Mike Sonko ameonewa, and he's my friend, and I declared he's my friend. There are things he has done he should never have done. You know? You know what I'm trying to say?
I get you, sir.
But Kenya's problems will not be solved by Uhuru Kenyatta himself. It will be solved by us. I have said openly what I think about some decisions that the president has made. Can we say so without intimidation or fear? And can he receive criticism in good faith? You understand? If I were him,
Without
the next thing I would do, I would call William.
That's the third thing now.
Yes, I would call William and say, you, young man, like he said in Bomas. I called him to form the team. And I want to challenge William. And from here, I'm going to call him. I called you and I told you to bring the team. You're aware. Ask him. Say, who you? I'm not faulting William. I don't agree with everything that the president says about William. Neither do I agree with everything that William says about the president. But I'm saying, at that point in time when he said this, your reaction, you moved from your seat to him. What did you tell him? And what has he done about what you said? Then I'll ask him, my buddy, please allow me to speak to Mr. President. I want to do a meeting with him and you. So that you guys put the interest of the nation first. And at that meeting, the next door man will be Raila Odinga. I would call him in and tell them, sasa nyinyi jamaa, wawili nyinyi. Nyinyi ndio shida. Why? Because you have crazy following, you have crazy following. But you're not controlling your following. What is it that I can do as president to create a field that is free, fair for each and every one of you and for each and every other supporter that you have? Na mkicheza twende bunge tutatengeza sheria. Kukikuwa na vita kwa mkutano yako, wewe huwezi simama rais. You must be able to control those that follow you and give space to those that do not follow you.
I disagree with you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But if the president has interest in what will happen in the next government, we are doomed.
Mm-hmm. And he actually said, I'm not going anywhere. Said, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be around to control the peace.
He should not go anywhere. He should sit here in Kenya.
He said, I'll still be here to control.
He should sit here in Kenya
the
because there are questions. We'll ask him if he doesn't do what it is that he should do.
Mm-hmm.
You get?
Kuna maswali zitaulizwa.
Kuna maswali.
So here number 4. Utaita Baba na William.
Yes.
By the president.
Nikiwa mimi ndio rais sahihi. Ningewaita.
Sasa tumefika tunaelekea 9 months. Bado kuna 9 months. What else will you do?
Ningeita wao sasa press pale kama ile inaitwaje ile debate.
Ile boma.
Ile presidential election debate.
Yes.
Tusimame sasa hadharani with given questions and you have 3 minutes uninterrupted. Tell us this problem, what did you do? Tell us this problem, where did it come from? We open them to the public for public discourse. You understand? When such things...
Makanyaga 10 months.
Maliza 10 months. This is only the first 2 months. Then from there, tutapata njia. Wewe ungependa tufanye nini? Wewe Raila. Ndio Kenya ikae stable. Wewe William Ruto ungependa tufanye nini? Wewe Kalonzo Musyoka, what is it you are saying? Waacheni kwenda small little places making some funny statements. Nimeona Kalonzo ameambiwa sijui amefanya nini, amekimbia DCI. Ati alikula shamba ya watu. What the hell is wrong with you? Si wacha waseme tu. Ngilu huyo ashasema Kalonzo shamba yake ni mzuri. Ni kweli ilikuwa ya NYS.
Psychology
ni kweli ilikuwa ya NYS. If it was, how did you get it?
Yes.
You understand? If your fellow minister went and cleaned you up, does it mean you're clean?
No, it doesn't.
This is the only country utapata mbuzi imelala, mtu ako na damu kwa mdomo, na unaona mbuzi ni kuumwa imeumwa. Unamuuliza anasema si mimi.
Sijauma kitu mimi.
Na ako na damu.
Anasema mimi ni mabuyu.
Hapana, ako na damu. Kama hii mbuzi ingesema Bitoka ameniuma.
Lakini kwa sababu najua mbuzi iongee nasema hapana sijauma hii mbuzi.
So my last point on the issue of what the president would do my point is he should be able to reconcile the country now, not later. This narrative of the rich against the poor, I would tell William Ruto and Raila Odinga, be very careful. Because in his house, he has workers who are relatively poor. And in the same house, there is his wife, who is the commander, deputy commander-in-chief, or hopefully so. The wife may be the commander-in-chief. I don't know. But if this narrative gets to your house, is it possible that you may eat poisoned food?
That's true.
Is that where we want this country to go? We want this country to be able to create an opportunity for that worker in Raila's house to one day become a rich person through genuine business or genuine employment. If William Ruto came from a chicken seller to what he is, you understand? Why won't a milk seller become rich if the path he has used is genuine? You understand? We need to kill such narratives. I'm saying give an opportunity to everyone so that they in Kenya can say, it is my BD that took me to the next level. But it is not what I'm seeing happening. I saw on video, I don't know whether it's choreographed or whatever it is, people burning tires from a tire trader and asking them, wewe umekuwa tajiri umetusaidia na nini? Is that a narrative that any normal person in Kenya would want to pursue? You understand? The oldest thing in this Bible is that the poor people and rich people were there. I don't know whether you read the Bible or you have read the Bible, Bitok.
I've read it.
They were there. Unfortunately so, even prostitutes were there. It is the oldest profession. They were there. I'm not saying I support, but they were there. Give them their space. I would not tell you to go rounding up prostitutes and killing them. I would never do that. Because it's a trade. And it is free. It is willing buyer, willing seller. Why do you want to interfere? Kama wewe kichwa yako iko sawa, unaona hiyo trade ni sawa, you involve yourself. The only bad thing with that trade ukifanya ni kuanza kuchukua wasichana hapa na kupeleka Uarabuni. And you know you're taking them to go and be slaves. That is wrong. A land of equal opportunities is what we need in this country. Finished. This other narrative should be killed and killed very fast. I am not saying that because I am rich and I have fear. I fear God only. I have no fear of anyone saying that you are rich and I'm poor. I have no fear. But that should be the least of our worries.
Sure.
And this narrative is bad. If you don't agree with me, wait and let it continue at that trend. We will have no country.
The country will collapse.
We will have no country.
All right. I want to ask you a question about a question someone else raised yesterday. I was having a conversation with D and
David
D. And he was telling me about the issues, and I was asking him, okay, I don't come from Central Kenya myself. So within the conversation, I asked him, there seems to be a rebellion from Central Kenya. And he was telling me people mistake the rebellion in Central Kenya. It's not political, it's economical. And then the reason why the mountain is being seen to be moving against the presidency is because there are people who have suffered more and there's leadership. I don't know what you feel is happening in Central Kenya. What is apathy? And
you know, David D's position, I don't know to agree or disagree with it. There are some things he has said that are really true. I want to say, you agree with me that most astute, vigorous, and serious business people are people from my community.
Sure.
If you go to Nyamakema and those other places where real business Gikomba and where it's done, you'll find it's them. You go to Lamu, Mombasa, Kisumu, you'll find it's them. So when the economy is not doing well because of policies of government and harassments of revenue authorities and such things, it is the people of the mountain that are suffering. So yes, partially, people are not happy with some decisions that government has made or actions that government have taken or equally not taken. But that is not the only reason. Even politics is another reason. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, if I was president, I would call these people and kill this narrative of betrayal and call it what it is, if it is anything else. You understand? Only them know. Only them know. We are assuming. We are talking from an assumption point of view. Why can't we talk from a factual point of view? Yeah. And I said, I'm willing. I will call them. I have sent a message to my president. I said, please call me. It's important.
He has not called.
It's important. He will. It's important.
Has William called?
Oh yes, I speak to William. I speak to Tinga.
Okay.
I speak to them. I speak to Mudavadi.
And
that's why I said, Juzi, and I'm not hiding, William Ruto paid me a courtesy call at home. But when he pays me a courtesy, don't brand me Tanga Tanga.
These are
when I
friends.
speak
William
when
came
I
to-
speak to the president or I speak to Ichongwa or somebody else, don't call me the belief he has. I am a free Kenyan and free to speak to anybody. And I am hoping one day I'll be able to sit in a conference room in my house or elsewhere with these gentlemen
and have a conversation.
and remind them you are Kenyans to start with.
You've not told me why the mountain is restless.
I have just told you the mountain is not restless. We are giving the mountain a restless name, but it is not restless. Do I look restless? And I'm from the mountain. I just want to tell our people, stop panicking when small things happen. You understand?
Yes.
And I'll tell the president, you know, you will leave us here and some other person from another tribe will be president. Let's not think like Kikuyus only. First, let's think are Kenyans. But we remember, we are Kikuyus. Yes.
Tufikirie
Hata
kwanza
wewe
kama
sahi
Wakenya.
ukipata vitu vizuri, kwanza utapeleka wapi?
Itakuja nikae
Kama
na
ni
hapo.
yako personal.
Itakuja ninunue nyumba hapo
Hata
Kiambu.
mimi
Kae
nikiwa
na-
personal na vitu yangu, nitakimbia kwa nyumba. You understand?
Nakuja ninunue Kiambu nyumba hapo kwako. Tukae
Kuja ununue.
pamoja.
By
Kuja
the
tukae
way-
pamoja. if I get a
by the
moja.
way, majority of people who've bought homes from me are not Kikuyus.
And that's what we want actually.
It is good to feel free to live anywhere in Kenya.
Yeah.
Na mimi nitaenda Sugoi, niende Eldoret, nione ni nani ataniuliza wewe unafanya nini hapa. The constitution of Kenya allows me to be anywhere in Kenya.
That you wish.
Yes.
Last question.
And let me tell you why. I would tell the president, do not think that when you see me with William Ruto, I'm betraying you. No. When you are friends, I was there. But we didn't have a contract that when he becomes your
Your enemy, we all
I
become.
also become. No, ni kama ndoa. You understand? Wewe na bibi yako wakati umetuita harusi. Si nishajuana na wewe, sijui bibi na nimemjulia hapo. Hakuna contract tumekuwa na wewe mkikosana, nikutane na yeye street nisimsemeshe. Hapana, ukikosana hiyo ni yako. We try and bring you together. And we see, if we see that what divides you is more than what puts you together, so asunder be it. Yeah, but she will never be my enemy.
All right. Swali ya mwisho. People are asking, okay, what's your next move? Are you running for president? People have said, yeah, you should team up with William and become William Squared for 2022. What is the next move?
I've seen and heard this story of Double William for a long time. My friend, it is a possibility.
Okay.
Let me also shock my friend William. It is also a possibility that I may stand for president. Let me also shock those who are waiting for me to leave Kiambu. My friends,
Unaweza cover.
ninaweza sema tu charity begins at home. What I'm doing right now, my concern is not what position I will vie for. My concern is, can we manage to put this country to become a unified Kenya? If I want to be a president in Kenya, I want to be a president of a cohesive nation. I do not want to be president of a divided nation. No, I would want to be able to work with those who want to take this Kenya to the next level before I say what I want. Don't I look healthier than I was when I was in Kiambu? Imagine I'm 5 years older. I'm 5 years older, but I think my friends tell me, I look more relaxed.
Whatever young.
And the same money I had in my pocket then is probably the same or more. And I didn't steal. When in office, if I did anything, I did business. If you come to the county and you're a businessman and I've done something there and you think you want to do business with me, what is wrong with that?
It's no problem.
I don't have to steal. No. I don't own a building in Nairobi that I bought when I was governor. And I tell people, if you want, come. If you find anything I bought when I was there, take it. Don't even ask me where it is. Take it. But there are guys here who will tell you, I bought this building, I bought this building. 3 buildings in Nairobi. And the day of elections, you would never have been able to fuel your jalopy. You know what a jalopy is? Some sort of a junk. You could never fuel it.
Tetanus.
But
Mobile
now,
tetanus.
you have 3 main buildings. What is this business acumen that you acquired 3, 4, 5 months after you entered office? And then the county revenue drops from 2.7 billion to 700 million. Shame on you.
Very sad. Speak. I want you to speak as we close. I want you to speak to these people that you mentioned. The President, William Ruto, and Raila Odinga. I think those are the three people that are now
They are key.
taking us in
They are very key.
So I want you to speak to the President, speak to his deputy, and then Raila Odinga. Let's start with the President. What did you tell him?
Boss, let's call these guys and have a
How
chat.
do you speak to that camera? This one.
Mr. President, let us meet and talk to these guys. Or give them a call. Tell them, guys, Kenya is greater than yourselves. Remember the saying of Professor, the late George Saitoti, there comes a time when the country is greater than any one of us. William, my friend, pick your call and call your brother. Remember the day you had white shirts and a red tie? That day is the day I long for. You worked with Tinga, 207. You remember? KICC? Call him. Where Tinga? Big brother. You are the guy. You are an enigma, boss. But this time, call your two brothers. Bring your NASA brigade to the table. Let's talk Kenya. Let our discussion be the Kenya we want. And this is the message to all of you. All you guys. If you can't fix this, Kenyans will fix you. Kenyans will fix you and deny you an opportunity to lead this country. And we shall have a new beginning where all Kenyans will say we are unified against division. God bless Kenya. God bless our motherland. God bless you all.
Thank you. Speak to Kenyans now. As you sign out.
Speak to?
Wa Kenya.
Sasa, who was I speaking to before?
You are speaking to the three guys who are running the Kenyans.
No, that is my story to the whole republic. Usiwe na wasiwasi. Tuombe Mungu tupata imani ya kuweza kusukuma gurudumu Kenya mbele.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for coming in. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for honoring the friendship that we have. I really appreciate. Thank you for coming in. And also, we'll never forget that you're the first person to believe in this dream.
I don't expect a paycheck from you. But when you become big, because they are Dalili Ambu and Mawinga,
Kama yako ya kuwa rais.
I want you to remember that I was one amongst the senior guests.
Wow.
who
You
came-
actually the first
who
to
came
believe
to
it,
your
yeah.
studio. Because I have places where I have built lawyers. And when they were working with me, they would come for a brief in my house or in my office. But they have become so big, even to find them is impossible.
Bro, mimi niko chini yako
So,
ndugu yangu.
nitatafuta lawyer mwingine mdogo saa hii. Juzi nikamwambia wewe Rene, wewe nanio, utakuwa wakili wangu, lakini siku ile nitakuita ukose kuja kuchukua brief, nitakuanika.
Ndugu yangu, nimejitolea. You believed in us. You've been supporting us. You are the first person who believed in this dream. Hata kamera ilikuwa shida. We kept grappling with technical issues. I remember, and the other day actually I had an interview somewhere, and I really appreciate that you, and I honor you for that. And you respect friendship, and you've held on through this. Thank you so much for
And
supporting
one
us.
thing that I would support you for, it is because the initiative you have, ni mtu anataka kujijenga.
Kabisa.
Let me not call you the other name. Mtu anataka kujijenga. Because ukifanya bidii ya kujijenga na wengine waone wako na nafasi ya kusaidia kuinua hali yako, na wewe utasaidia wengine kuinua hali yao.
Amen.
You don't have to steal to progress in this country, because you have not stolen. I haven't heard where umechajiwa mahali. The next year I want to find you in a floor
Wow.
of a building in the city of Nairobi,
Amen.
running your studio business.
Hallelujah.
You understand?
Yes.
And telling Kenyans things as they are.
Wow. I receive that prophecy in Jesus' name.
Let me also tell you equally, I know you have ambitions of becoming a politician. This is a very, very serious job, not of the faint-hearted. It makes people criminals. And those who avoid becoming criminals, they become the talk of everyone. This is a murky business. It's a very, very murky business. Because Kenyans have made it what it is.
Sure.
Also, Kenyans must stop thinking about handouts. Because utakula 500 siku ya uchaguzi. Unfortunately so, utaenda choo the next day.
5 years hakuna kitu.
Sasa choo ya siku moja imefanya ukatupa kura yako ambayo inaweza jenga taifa.
Sad.
Put your vote where it will work for you. And if you don't, you vote badly, shut up for 5 years.
Ufungue mdomo tena
ufanywe hivyo for 5 years.
Wow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. The guys who have been watching us, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for always tuning in. If it's not for you, the tackle will not be there. We really appreciate you. This is the tackle, and the tackle ends now. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.